Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jason Lehman. I'm the marketing team lead today, at Fishbowl. And today we're going to be talking about some ways that you can prevent a 10 to 20% increase in your Oracle WebCenter maintenance. I'd also like to welcome my associate and colleague here at Fishbowl Solutions, John Lundgren. He's our enterprise support manager. John, welcome. Hello. And John will be participating in today's webinar with me, talking more specifically around Fishbowl's enterprise support program. So as we move to the agenda, I'll give everyone a chance to read this. I just want to cover off some housekeeping items. First and foremost, like every webinar that Fishbowl Solutions does, this webinar will be recorded. Everyone that registered will be sent a link to the webinar recording so you can watch it again or share it with your colleagues. Also, I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that questions can be asked during the webinar. We'll try to get to those questions at the end. There's a little chat interface or Q&A interface within the Zoom interface. Just type your question in there and we'll be alerted that there's been a question asked. The other big thing I want to make sure everyone was aware of today is, unfortunately, we wanted our Director of Services, Jason Zolchinski, to join us today and present some of this and have some of this discussion presented by him. Unfortunately, he's just really busy right now and won't be able to join us. So you get me, the other Jason, again, Jason Lehman, marketing team lead, to cover most of this presentation. And then, as I said, my colleague John Lundgren will also be participating. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, I'm sure most of you know who Fishbowl is, what we do. I'll just cover off quickly, kind of making sure everyone's aware we're still focusing on WebCenter. We've started to branch out a little bit into some other Oracle Cloud technologies and user experience technologies. So I'll just mention that quickly. But really, we want to have everyone, come away with this really understanding their options. So I think most of you are on 11G still, or maybe even a legacy version. The poll that I had and that I had launched and shared the results on was really to get a feel for why customers haven't moved to 11G. Hopefully, I think you saw most of you have answered that you're unsure of the vision or roadmap for the product. I will be including a little bit of that information today. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard of 12C, but just so you know, there's actually another major release of WebCenter planned as well called 19C. So I'll talk a little bit about that. But really, it's to focus on, there's two paths that we've kind of outlined and want you to consider. Because one of them is you can maintain your 11G version, but what does that really look like? And what does that look like from a cost perspective? And then from an overall expectation on support, expectation on the current platform and how it's going to perform. The other path is getting you to 12C. That might be an option for some of you right away. It might be a more long-term option, but just really helping you understand, if you move to 12C, here's some of the new features and functions that you can take advantage of, as well as some of that cloud integration that might be available to you. Now that's a whole other topic. We're not going to address a lot of it today on the cloud, your cloud path or what your cloud strategy is as an organization, but just putting it out there that there are some additional capabilities you get by moving to 12C, and you want to have an integration with some of Oracle's cloud solutions. So as I mentioned, I'll talk a little bit about the roadmap at the end and then that cloud piece. So again, quickly on Fishbowl, as I mentioned, most of you know us for the WebCenter content and portal, maybe even some of the imaging and capture work we've done, partnering with you. We go all the way back to 1999, really focusing on helping customers solve their most costly and frustrating knowledge sharing problems. When it comes to WebCenter, I think most of the customers that registered for this and are now attending, you understand that we can really help you extend the value of your system, do more of that, be more of the technical oversight for your system, really helping you outline, get to the next version or add customizations, really help you with some of those small or sometimes large fires that you experience with the platform. So kind of soup to nuts there, from consulting to support to some of our value add solutions. As I mentioned, we've started to branch out a little bit, kind of going where the customers are taking us, and some of where they're taking us is more that cloud or hybrid cloud interaction. So still maintaining your high value repository behind your firewall on premise, but then looking at ways to extend content out of your organization and share it with others. And Oracle Content Experience gives you the ability to do that, as well as build more omni-channel experiences for your customers or for your organization. So that could be a marketing content hub, that could be kind of a microsite-like portal for one of your departments in your organization, but again, giving you more of that cloud-based infrastructure and all the benefits that come along with that for content management. We're also working with mobile applications and digital assistants or chatbots, so helping customers really take advantage of the mobile cloud service, as well as that conversational experience or conversational interface that you get with chatbots. And then we also do a lot around search. I think we've worked with some of you on those. We now have solutions for both search in the cloud through Google Cloud Search, as well as more of the on-premise needs that are facilitated with Mindbreeze. But getting right down to why we're here. And so the reason we decided to have this webinar is, we saw, hopefully most of you saw, that Premier support for WebCenter 11G effectively ended on December 31st, 2018. Now, even if you didn't know that, I think you probably knew that the 11G version was coming to, from a support perspective, kind of an end of life, considering that it was released many, many years ago. But again, just making sure everyone was aware of that. And then, great, so it's ending. What does that actually mean for your organization? And so that's what we're going to be framing up today in this conversation, in this webinar, is really the path that we, as your value-added consultant, recommend for customers to consider. There might be other options that you consider, but in terms of how we've currently worked with customers, getting them from major version, from 11G to the next version, we just want to kind of give you some options and help you understand, the best option for your organization. So 11G Premier support has ended. What does that mean for 11G customers? From a support perspective, that means effectively that you'd be on extended support. And so on the left, what I've included is some of the key dates when that started. Your support policy with Oracle is probably going to vary from another customer's, but in general, what Oracle says is expect to be hit with another fee. So when you move to extended support, your support costs might actually increase. Now, I wanted to make sure you saw in the chat as well, I've included some links to some of Oracle's support policy information. Now, mind you, it's not the most riveting stuff to read, and some of it is a little buried in amongst other legalese, if you will, but when it gets right down to it, what's called out is that moving to extended support on 11G, you would see a support cost increase. So that, by saying that, getting that out of the way, what you should also be aware of, and I think most of you being kind of on the WebCenter release train, going back to 10G even, or even legacy versions before that, you should understand that when Premier support ends, you're not going to get that next, the next new version set, or the next new feature set or functionality set, as well as some of those critical patches that are necessary to prevent maybe some security risks. So I think overall, everyone understands that, but again, in bringing this subject to a webinar, from a webinar perspective, just making sure everyone's on the same page. Most of you are going to probably be on extended support now. You're going to see that cost increase for support, as well as you're going to miss out on some of those new features and critical patches available for the next version. So really, that's the goal for today's webinar. I kind of framed that up for you. We're going to talk about path one, maintaining your 11G instance. And again, we have a lot of customers that we still work with that are on 11G. That's fine. We'll talk to you about maybe supplementing as you look at some of the problems that you might have from a support perspective, and I'll give another example of issues you might actually run into with 11G versions. You can still maintain that, still get a lot of use out of it, but Fishbowl can help you kind of optimize your use case in your environment today. And then really path two, so getting you to 12C. So I'm going to provide you with some of those features and functionality. That 12C kind of makes it a little bit better story for customers to move based on those new capabilities, as well as really getting back on the Premier support policy. So not getting hit with that extended support fee, renewing your support policy based on the new version, and then getting those new features and patches that are available with those new versions. So let's dig into path one. Wanted to start off with as you consider what we're going to talk about with path one is, we always want to work with customers to really understand their business problem. That's really the heart of who Fishbowl is about, is getting to the root of what the problem is that you're trying to solve. And what we see typically for customers on 11G or legacy versions to maintain those is that as they work with Oracle support, and again, mind you, and hearing from John came from Oracle and he worked in their support department. So these are things that John has actually, lived while he was at Oracle, but not only things that he shared with us, but, in interacting with customers, these are things that they've told us is that there's just that lack of support consistency. Now, again, your experiences with Oracle support might be vastly different. You might have, little to no complaints there. But in general, what we see is that just that varying levels of support consistency, because you're working with, a different person every time. They might not remember your environment, and they might actually just ask you your version and say, oh, well, you can get rid of that problem by upgrading. Then the overall lack of really the communication. So, you submit a ticket, you might not hear anything, just that whole response time and kind of lag that might occur between when you have a problem and when you actually get to talk to someone. And again, as you look at, kind of supporting your environment, what type of senior resources needed? Again, with the experiences that we've had, a lot of times you might actually work with someone that doesn't really know content management, doesn't really know Web Center. So they're trying to triage something that they actually don't have the best knowledge of. And there's also a lot of that turnover. So you might be working with someone that you actually remember by name. They're no longer there. They've moved to another department. So just that lack of, there's that lost knowledge that person might have taken away from your environment, and really building up a case profile for you that can be shared easily, amongst, their colleagues within that support department. And then just the overall complexity. So most of you have probably worked with SRs within Oracle. For new people, that could be quite daunting. Again, just trying to get to someone to talk to and get a response. There's some complexities involved that make that a little difficult to just do that. So what we see in general is, from an Oracle support policy or support program perspective, there's just really going to be that delayed resolution. And then as you look at that, then you say, well, I can't solve my problem. The people that really need to use Web Center, they're getting frustrated. So as an organization, you might see that there's the overall perspective on the system is there's that really decreased ROI of the overall system use. Then there's just common issues that continue to happen with legacy versions. One common issue that we've addressed and we've seen is that a lot of people had issues with the admin applets. If you upgraded your browsers, you might see where, and I've included some screenshots here on the screen for you all to see, is you might be familiar with some of these windows and prompts that would occur when you try to interact with the admin applet. So very, very problematic to admit to, as you're trying to just administer the system and you had this admin applet issue with an outdated Java version. So it's really hit or miss if they would work. And when they didn't, you basically were stuck trying to, again, figure out, revert back to an older browser version, whatever. So what has Fishbowl done on this path anyway to help Web Center customers out? So we're going to talk first about a software program that we've built and includes some of our most popular components, as well as about our enterprise support program. So on the software side, what we've done on that admin applet issue is we basically built in with our version of Admin Suite, which again kind of bundles up our most popular components for workflow management, user access, bulk loading of content into Web Center, as well as more of that predictive and proactive notifications that you can build for content in the system. Those are all bundled up and packaged in what we call Admin Suite. And what we added in 2.0 just a couple years ago was more of these applets are now web-based. So it's much more easy to, point and click and get to the certain features of the admin console that you need to really administer the system. So no more of these annoying security prompts and upgrade your Java applet warnings. So as you think about what that looked like, I included a screenshot below. Should be very familiar to most of you. To get in and administer this now, it's all web-based. So to get to the configuration manager, the system properties, and so on, should be a lot easier for customers to do that by using this by using our admin suite component. What that means for you is, as you run into issues and you just basically are trying to administer the system to get the value out of it that you're looking for, you should be able to focus on less of that administration time and more of that value add work that some of your colleagues are looking for you on the support side for the WebCenter system. Okay, so with that, I'm now going to turn it over to John, and he's going to talk a little bit more about how we're helping customers solve or provide more value on that technical support side when it comes to WebCenter. So John, take it away.
Thanks, Jason. As Jason said, my name is John Lundgren. I've been with Fishbowl here for about 4 to 5 years. Prior to that, I worked for Oracle doing the WebCenter content support. And before that, I actually worked even for Stellent, the main product that WebCenter was based off of that Oracle purchased. So I've had at least a decade of experience working with WebCenter content and its related products. So when I was at Oracle, I worked as an advanced resolution engineer, which in their terms is basically if an issue comes in and isn't it something that's going to be very cut and dry or something that's going to involve a lot more effort and work to fix, those issues would sometimes get transferred to the advanced resolution engineers. The bug diagnostic engineer is someone who just works as a liaison kind of between development and the customer for potential bug issues and fixes that need to be pushed out. When I was at Oracle, I also kind of worked in the APIs and the middleware integrations. So on any of the external applications that were, if you make a service call or something like that to WebCenter content, that would be able to help kind of diagnose issues with that as well. All right. At Fishbowl here, we have 2 kind of packages for support. One's basic and the other one is premium. I'll just kind of go over what the basic one has. So for the basic enterprise support package, we basically just it's a break, fix, and question answer type of support. We're a supplement to Oracle support, not a replacement for it, but so basically you can think of us as a system administrator and for your WebCenter environment. So any questions you have or any issues that any that appear, it's just basically, hey John, take a look. Users are getting this error, and then I take it from there. And then hopefully the next update that I send to you is it's fixed. What's included in the basic package is you get access to our ticketing system, which is called Zendesk, and through there you can contact us through phone, via email, web, and there's even a mobile phone app which I personally use and was actually nice, and that sends out push notifications for new tickets, for updates, everything like that. So it's a very easy way to stay on top of what your organization is doing for the enterprise support. Another one is in our Zendesk system, we have automatic ticket escalation. So if you open up a ticket with us and it's taking too long to fix, our managers and directors and even President Tim Grudel will get notified of these tickets that are being open for too long, and then we'll kind of basically sit down and have a small little discussion of why is it taking so long and things like that to make sure that we're making the progress that we expect from our support team here. We also have SLA response times, so we hold ourselves accountable to making sure that we're communicating with you promptly and when we should be. So if we're doing a lot of things internally that we let you know that, hey, we are working on the issue, just so even though we haven't made an update in maybe a day or so, just know that we are working on the issue. Another thing is that we also have a good knowledge of your environment. So we will know, so when you open up a ticket, we know that, oh, okay, yep, you're on 11.1.1.8 of WebCenter content, and you're on a Linux operating system using an Oracle database, things like that. So you don't have to keep telling us over and over again, as I'm sure if you've ever worked with Oracle support, that's one thing that they would almost always do, is ask for the configuration for instance page, which I'm sure many of you are probably very aware of. Out of all the enterprise support customers here, I can pretty much name the main version, operating system, and database that they all use, just right off the top of my head. Another thing is if you give us remote access to your systems, what I mentioned before is if like you tell us that, hey, we're having an issue, that should be all that is taken care of. It greatly increases the time to fix issues, because then I can get in there and see firsthand rather than trying to kind of work through email, getting a screenshot, things like that. Another one is I will also talk with Oracle if I do need to go to them for tickets or bugs or things like that. So since I work with Oracle, I kind of know, the questions to ask, the files to give them, and things like that, and the key phrases that kind of set off the alarms on their end should that happen to it. So you don't ever have to work with Oracle. That's my job then if you choose to get an enterprise support package. So in the basic enterprise support packages do have a limited number of hours, but that is something that you can work with your sales rep to determine exactly what number would work for you should you want to go that route. All right, and the second package is the premium package. So the premium package covers everything that the basic package does, but it also goes a little bit further as well. So the premium package, you get one person that will be your main contact. So the support team here, you may bounce between one or two people, but all of which would know your system. But with the premium package, anytime that you would open up a ticket, it would go to that one person, provided they were here at the time. So on top of the basic support plan, what it does is we can also sit with you on like a weekly basis if you choose, and we can go over all the issues. If you have any concerns about a ticket that you open that isn't getting fixed quickly enough, or if you have just general questions that you don't, just kind of lingering in the back of your mind that you wanted to ask, but keep forgetting to open up a ticket for, or something like that, we can cover that on a weekly review. On a quarterly basis, I will generate a report for you that kind of outlines how many tickets you've opened, how many tickets we've solved, if the overall satisfaction rating that you've given us, and some other just SLA type metrics, so you can see how your support is going for you. And also there will also be a proactive health check. One of us here at Fishbowl will log into your system, kind of take a look at the log files, making sure that there's not, an avalanche coming down the mountain, so to speak, of everything's working fine, but then all of a sudden, whoa, the system's down and we can't access the system anymore, and users start getting upset. Just trying to avoid those types of situations. And the other big change between basic and premium is that with the premium, there are unlimited hourly plans available, so that you don't have to worry about, oh, okay, well, we only bought X number of hours and we've already used half of them and it's only been 2 months type situation. So that's something that can be worked out with your Fishbowl sales rep. In terms of product that we can support right now, it's mainly the web center content, the full stack, pretty much any of the add-on products that if you go to do a web center content installation, any of those types of products will be supported. Just listing a couple of them, inbound refinery, records management, document capture, things like that, all those, the main core products. And we also do support for the Web Center portal group as well. Both those products we have multiple years of experience in supporting with various customers, So the main support features that you'll get to see is that we're available from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time, which is we believe to be the core business hours for a lot of companies. We do have 24/7 support coming for critical issues. It's not in place yet, but it is in the works to being rolled out for all of our support customers. And as I mentioned, we do use the Zendesk ticketing system. If you've ever used it, it's very, very easy to get updates. There's a web portal that we can use where you can update like a form-based and apply that way. You can also just send an email. So from the customer side, you just basically reply to an email thread and it'll automatically update the tickets. And there's also, as I mentioned, the mobile application as well. The support features for the automated escalations, as I mentioned. So if a ticket's open too long, our managers and directors and president will be notified, and based on the on the priority of the ticket. So if you open up an urgent, hey, our production system is down, our president, Tim Grudel, will be notified much sooner rather than if it's a low priority, hey, you know, where's the documentation or something like that. But those happen automatically. I can't control those. So if I don't want my manager to know, I can't stop that from happening. So that's a good thing for the support as well. So to try and be consistent with what Oracle is, so it's not too much of a change, the severity definitions that we have here at Fishbowl match those almost perfectly with what Oracle has. Oracle has four different levels of priorities, which I think are critical, high, normal, and low. And ours match those near perfectly, just to be consistent, so there's no confusion of what exactly each one means. And the other last one that I want to mention is the customer satisfaction that we have here at Fishbowl. Since over the past 4 or 5 years, we've maintained a 99% customer satisfaction rating, and that 99% is over hundreds, if not thousands, of customer survey responses that we have gotten. So just to kind of go over the main benefit summary here. One of the issues for WebCenter support is the lack of consistency, but here you can see that the one thing that we've gotten is the 99% customer satisfaction rating. So you know you're getting a consistent high level of support. The lack of quality, we have dedicated expert level WebCenter resources here who are very knowledgeable with the WebCenter product, and you don't have to worry about being bounced between different people or getting that 1 or 2 people that you know that don't know the product as well as other people. Another issue was the relearning or lost knowledge. Like as I mentioned, we maintain your environment information, architecture information, so we know when you file an issue what version information. We don't have to spend time going through that. We can just hit the ground running. I guess the main one that I wanted to mention was the decreased return on investment. For WebCenter, if you have to file an issue with Oracle, I think the average time to resolution is about around 3 weeks, I think, for Oracle. That's just a guess on my part from my past experiences. And so that during that time, your users get frustrated, and you need things up and running quickly so that they can be as productive as possible. With Fishbowl, I believe last time I had checked, our time to close was approximately one in maybe 1.5 weeks, and that's across all aspects, even like the long outrunning ones and the short-lived ones. So what that does is give you a better return on your investment. Your users are happier and more productive, and therefore they can do their jobs as efficiently as possible.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
great information. I want to make sure that I point out the typo. That was my fault, not John's. Make sure that everyone understands that lifetime support policy satisfaction is the 99% since John's been here. So I apologize for the 98%, John, because that doesn't speak truly to satisfaction you're giving to the customers. So 99%. So thanks, John. Appreciate the information you shared. All right. So you heard from John, and then from myself talking about path 1, using some software perhaps to solve some of those challenges like the applets, but really on the support side, which we typically see as one of the biggest problems, and for customers staying on older versions. And you've now hopefully got to learn a little bit more about our enterprise support program that John heads up. So moving to path 2. So for customers considering going to 12C, again, as you consider the issues that you're having today with the legacy version, John talked about the support. And again, that's going to vary between customers. You might actually be very satisfied with the Oracle support. For those that are not, John shared with you how we could help and supplement that today. But some of those new features and capabilities. Now, I'm sure most of you have gotten pitches, or you've seen some information on 12C new features, capabilities. I'm not going to go into great detail on any one of those today. Just want to make sure that you're aware of some of those top ones that we're making customers aware and customers are actually utilizing today. One thing though that I did want to call out is performance. Now 11G, very stable system, and talking to John, it's, there's customers using it and storing a lot of content items in it. But again, over time, as you put more load on the system and as new You know, even mentioning some of the dependent systems that you have working with it, you might see some performance degradation over time. And we've actually had customers that have had to upgrade their servers, top of the line servers, to get more of that performance that they're looking for based on the new load that they're putting on the system. I also mentioned a little bit on security risks. You know, the browsers that you might be running, the older ones, might be more susceptible to hackers and viruses. Again, we have talked to customers where they definitely saw some vulnerabilities there, and so moving to 12C, to them at least, getting on that new pad set and security that would come along with that. One of the reasons they did that. And again, I mentioned the cloud use cases. So with 12C, there's going to be some options that you can take aware from a hybrid use case, or you could actually choose to run your instance in the cloud, which I'll share a little bit of information on that. So again, going down path 2, you're going to upgrade to 12C because you want to take advantage of those new features. You want to renew your support contract, get back on the Premier support, and then look to get a little bit more value out of the system. So again, just level setting here, again, right from Oracle. And again, I would encourage you to click on those links that I provided in the chat. This is right from Oracle, just making sure everyone's aware. Oracle WebCenter 12C is supported through 2025. So as you consider where you're at today with 11G, getting to 12C, it should make you, feel pretty good that you have 6 years of support left. And then the extended supports as you move from there would be the same that I shared earlier with 11G. Just to summarize again, I'm not going to go through all the new features and functionality. If you want a more in-depth conversation around those, we'd be happy to share it with you. I've tried to list out here some of the ones that we've seen customers really get excited about. Some of them aren't as exciting. If you could look under the capture and imaging one, for example, the server consolidation, a lot of customers on 11G, they just didn't want to maintain 2 separate servers or instances of WebCenter, having their imaging server on one and their content server on the other. That's all been consolidated in 12C. The big one, though, has been the UI. So for many customers, I'm sure you're no different. You've heard a lot about the user experience, user interface. Looks really out of date, and so they've moved to that new UI. So we've had 2 major releases since 2015. August 2017 was the last major release. And so again, there's many things listed out here that as we share the presentation, you can go over in more depth. But just know that 12C included a lot of the new features and functions that Oracle had heard from customers, and they wanted those enhancements in the next version. Just one example. Again, most of you are familiar with the bottom, the legacy UI of what that looks like when you go to the content info page. I'm showing what that could potentially look like if you move to 12C and use the ADIF UI. And again, this UI was introduced in later versions of 11G, but just want to make sure you're aware. 12C would include that Alta skin, which is what it's called. So again, you see some thumbnails, you see more clear image of the content I'm reviewing with the metadata on the right. For those of you on Portal, I think we have some Portal customers joining us today. One of the big things there was that mobile-first design, being able to design your portal and lay out portal page templates and the overall skin. That's mobile optimized. So you didn't have to maintain kind of that mobile, portal, if you will, that could run on mobile devices. You could actually develop for, this mobile responsive portal that would just, accept the form factor of whatever the device that the portal is being viewed on. So again, 2 major releases since 2015. Covering off some of the new capabilities. The ease of use multi-channel, that's more of that mobile-first design. The ease of use, also on the right there, that's the delegated administration, being able to really delegate down ownership on the page and the content on the pages. So that's made it easy for, kind of have this distribution of content and having customers really own, departmentally or by person, who's going to own the content on the site. Also being able to really manage the life cycle of content, not needing to be that technical expert that actually went into the system and made those changes. Most of that can be accomplished now through the browser. So it's opened it up to more of that business user type that can help with that process. And then on the hybrid side, really it's that, being able to take your portal use case today and move it to the cloud. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple more slides here, but basically the feature set available in Oracle WebCenter 12C, they have the similar features, they have the same feature set now available in the cloud. Just wanted to mention that for customers that do want to look at more of a way to get to that next level of their portal, kind of enhance and evolve their portal use case and the user experience, we do have a solution available for that as well. One of the things that we found with this is that it really helps you get your portal deployed in a quick fashion, add some more of those capabilities that you're looking for, on the portal side when it comes to the portal building and the layout and the navigation. So we have within our Portal Solution Accelerator, we have those all kind of packaged up for you. And we also have found that, as you look at the ADF heavy, portals of the past, we've moved to more of a single page application view of that, which has really helped portal customers get better performance out of the portal. So in considering your move to 12c, I just wanted to make sure, you're aware as a Valueadd partner that we do have kind of this packaged upgrade offering, kind of two form. There's the one that just kind of an overview, so customers come to us and say, hey, just help me understand what I currently have today, help me do an assessment, help me lay out my roadmap and how my roadmap, what I want to do or what my organization wants to do from a content management or portal perspective aligns with Oracle. So we have kind of this package assessment and roadmap offering that we can put together with you. And then we kind of have the comprehensive view of this where we can do it all. So we can start with that scope and design or assessment and really lay it out from there to help you go from your current version up to 12c. Quickly, I wanted to make sure everyone's aware that, as I mentioned, some of the new features that are available today, they're, again, not going to lay all these out for you today, but, there have been some enhancements made that are available today that as Oracle moves to the next version for content and portal, they'll be, continue to enhance. One of the things that is still missing within that is really that enterprise search system. You might have heard that Oracle was moving to more of an elastic search. To be honest, that, depending on the use case and how the traction that was made there, not actually sure if that actually has evolved to a place where customers can take advantage of it. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we're also an enterprise search partner, both on the Google side and the Mindbreeze side, which I'm showing here. A lot of our WebCenter customers are continuing to use search on-premise, so that's where we help them with the Mindbreeze solution. But wanted to make sure everyone's aware that there's another version planned. So as you look at the future, you move to 12c, know that there would be a 19c coming, so that'd be the next major release. No timings that I'm aware of or any dates or any of that, but basically what Oracle wants to do is take what they've done in 12c and continue to get feedback from customers on what they'd want to see in the next version. They've already started to lay out some of this as I'm showing here. One of those things, hopefully, again, not sure if this will come to fruition or not, is better search within the system. But basically, as you look at your roadmap now from going to 12c and getting back on a support contract and then moving to 19c, there's a pretty good and long roadmap of WebCenter. It's really up to you and your organization to determine, does the system have what I need it to do for my current use cases as you look at where you're at today and where you want to go in the future. But overall, you should be confident that Oracle's continue to invest in this and we'll have that new feature set available in 19c. The other thing I wanted to mention is, as you look at current 11G and you might be hearing in your organization, well, we have use cases for cloud. Well, from a WebCenter perspective, what you can do today on the 12c side is you can take advantage of some of the cloud infrastructure that's available. So what we laid out here is just kind of an overview of what some of those options are for you. Running it on bare metal is one of or Compute Cloud are two of the offerings that Oracle has. You could also choose to use more of the platform as a service approach with Java Cloud Service. And then one of the more exciting things that I mentioned earlier was basically taking your portal use case today and the feature set available in WebCenter Portal 12c and running that same system in the cloud. So not going to go over too much of this, but basically as you look at all the features available and the new features added to 12c, well, now those can actually be run in the cloud. So that just gives you a lot of the flexibility to take advantage of all the cloud benefits, less server, infrastructure costs that you have to deploy on-premise, and more of that management and multi-tenant type benefits that you can get within the cloud. So we have worked with a customer to do that. So we going back to our upgrade offering, kind of did that assessment and took a look at their current needs and what they were trying to accomplish, getting down to the business problem. And for them, they wanted to pretty much move off a supported system that they were working with another vendor on and get out of that kind of hosted environment and more to by a third-party vendor and more to that Oracle hosted environment and having that security of running it in more in a enterprise class or best-in-class cloud environment that Oracle offers. So we help this customer basically take their use case and move it to the portal. With that new features and capabilities, as their use case was really to onboard and make sure that there was an employee portal available for their Canadian group. So it was really important to them that they could go to this portal and get the information that they needed to do their jobs. And oh, by the way, it's on the cloud, and so they're able to take advantage of more of those cloud benefits. Well, as we come to the end of the presentation today, I just want to summarize kind of our discussion. So again, the whole reason for having this is just to make sure our customers were aware that 11G Premier support has ended. Hopefully that wasn't a shock to you or that wasn't news to you. But if it was, just by providing the information on the two paths that we can help customers take, again, maintaining their legacy version, 11G, and maybe start looking to get more value out of it, continue to get value out of it until you've figured out your roadmap. We can help you with from an enterprise support perspective, really helping you, maintain the system better and get the best use out of it from a support perspective. As well as considering there are some solutions that we have in place from a software side to help you with that more management of the day-to-day functionality, even the little pains that you might be experiencing with the admin applets, all the way to the enterprise search solutions that we could provide to help you get value out of the system. And then moving to 12C. So we've helped a lot of customers do that. Each use case has varied, but a lot of customers just really want to maintain that agreement on the support side to get the best support. And with their support maintenance that they pay for, they're ensured that they're going to get those critical patches and releases, for feature releases that come along with it. As we left today, at the end of the discussion, it was really about helping customers understand too that there is a roadmap for WebCenter. So you might have heard various things, from various people, but as we showed today, 12C is out. 12C is going to go to 19C in the future. And so you should feel more confident that, Oracle WebCenter is not going away. There is a next version planned. And with that, and hopefully with feedback from customers like yourselves, they can continue to add the new feature, some more features to really help your business by getting in the system. So with that, I'm going to move to questions. Like I said, if you do have a question, you can type it in the Q&A. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this webinar is being recorded, so we will pass on the recording to everyone that registered. So again, no, I don't see any other questions at this time, so I think we can conclude today's webinar. I did want to leave you with some contact information. Besides putting this recording on our website, or besides emailing this recording to you, we will put it on our website. Definitely would encourage you to follow us on social media as well as check out our blog. We continue to add new topics on our blog, not only about WebCenter, but as I mentioned, some of the other things we're focusing on now on the enterprise search side and the digital assistants and mobile applications, as well as content and experience. We did do a content experience webinar. Again, that's Oracle's kind of the next gen of content management that they're working on. We did do a webinar of that back in December as well. That's on our website. But seeing no questions, I hope today's presentation was of value to you. We'd like to get your feedback. Don't be surprised if your account manager here at Fishbowl, your sales manager, follows up with you to see if we were able to meet your expectations for what you're looking to get out of this presentation. But until next time, we will be signing off. Again, this is Jason Lehman. Thanks for attending, and I hope everyone has a great day.